Good morning and welcome to the trade setup right here on BQ Prime. I'm Neeraj Shah. And let's take stock of the global news flow first. It was a quiet day of trade for the world markets at large. US and China have held 2 days of talks. Hopefully something constructive comes out of it for the world economy. Oil has risen after sliding 2% as US signals it aims to refill oil reserve after June. Elon Musk says he's stepping down as Twitter CEO. Interesting there. And SoftBank stock drops after Vision Fund loses money yet again. It shows you what can happen to the best or the most reputed of funds as well. But like I said, the markets did precious little. So if you look at the US markets as well, overnight or in terms of the futures trade as things stand, they did precious little. The Dow, second in a trot in the red. The Nasdaq, second in a trot in the green, but marginally so. So hardly any changes there. The other Qs also not showing too much of a dramatic move. If anything, the S&P, the VIX was flat. Dollar index at about 101, 102. So hardly any changes there. And the 10-year yield too, after sliding day before yesterday up the CPI numbers and some more inflation data that has been positive at 3.37. The SGX Nifty should be flattish, maybe marginally higher or marginally lower, yep, about a third of a percent. I really doubt there'll be too much of a deviation from this. I really doubt there'll be too much of a downtick either, if anything, ahead of the verdict tomorrow. But let's wait and watch. So what's the trade setup therefore for the day? The primary setup is what our caption indicated. It's a quiet day of trade anticipated ahead of the election verdict. Banks are showing resilience, but it's difficult to call strong gains from the current levels almost immediately. Today, the CPI IP release is also important, but I doubt it will have a lasting uh, impression on markets on Monday. Traction is being seen in quiet pockets of now consumer stocks as well as cement in the dealing rooms. And we saw evidence of that yesterday. Post Asian Paints numbers, that stock doing well. Mid-sized names like Sagar Cements or large cap like Ultratech Cement doing okay. Abuja is over 400 as well. So there's some bit of traction in pockets which were hitherto quiet for the last 4 or 5 months starting to come to the fore. And that is the important thing as well. And real estate is back in the reckoning. 2 days on a trot now. That index has been the best performing index. And this is despite, if you speak to local builders in Mumbai or maybe some of the other areas as well, they're talking of how relative to the last 12 to 24 months, there is a bit of a slowdown now in the real estate sales. Having said that, those numbers are still good for the stocks to actually have traction. So certainly you've seen the last couple of days there being traction in some of these real estate names. But the key is the long laundry list of stocks that are likely to react on open today. And of course, remember, it's a busy day for earnings as well, with Tata Motors coming out and a bunch of others coming out. It's a long laundry list of earnings, but because the list of stocks that will react is high, I'm straight away jumping to that. So first up is Eicher Motors. The numbers, revenues rose 19% to 3804 crores. The estimates were 3741, so largely in line, maybe marginally higher, but I would call this in line. But the EBITDA number at 933, slightly higher than the expected 896 crores. Margins at 24.5. The expected number was 24. Net profit rose 48% to 905 crores. The estimates were 786 crores. Now the con call takeaways for Eicher. They said that domestic Royal Enfield demand is very resilient. A strong lineup of launches in Royal Enfield in FY24. They expect double-digit growth in FY24 for the CV industry at large. I believe non-motorcycle revenue for them grew at a robust 14% in FY23, driven by 32% growth in the accessories business. So all of these pointed to fairly robust performance as well as prediction for the other con call takeaways being high too. Now, what about brokerages? Like Duwama, for example, the erstwhile Edelweiss, says that they are sustaining the growth thump, which is Eicher Motors. They maintain the buy with the target price of 3850 as they increase their 24 and 25 expected EPS by 3% apiece. Because one, the Q4 was strong. Commodity downtick would therefore enhance the margin accretion story. And this note also says this. And remember, as the con call stated as well, a bunch of new launches lined up for Royal Enfield that might support growth in FY24. There are some brokerages which are also saying that there are lots of challenges ahead in terms of new competition, and most certainly there. But we've seen in the past, Royal Enfield somehow seems to sustain most challenges and do better. One shouldn't assume otherwise for now, unless data provides for the same. So I would suspect that this should bring about a positive reaction for Royal Enfield or Aisha, sorry. The other one is Siemens. Revenues up 27%, EBITDA margin at 12.79 versus 12.35, net profit up 38% at 471 crores. Really, again, very difficult to find too many faults with what Siemens has done. I was trying to see what brokerages have said when it comes to these numbers, and just pull up in a moment for Siemens. There was one note, of course, which came out, which was constructive. They said the beat consensus EBITDA and PAT by 17% and 4% on account of better execution across segments, and adjusting for the locomotives order, new orders during the quarter grew about 7% YOY and 27% per se, and 3-year CAGR despite a high base. Renewables led transmission capex and railways rolling stock capex are mega multi-year growth areas. They have this is again Nuvama. They have upped the target price to 4,400 from the earlier 3,800, as they now assign peak cycle multiple of 64 times September 25 estimates. Remember, UBS yesterday too had gone ahead and upped their estimates on Siemens and upped the price target as well. So that's the other one to watch out for. If it just Let me just try and take a minute and talk about what UBS had to say when it comes to Siemens as well, because that was the other interesting note. They had given an upgrade, and they said the positive peer read through improves conviction in the growth prospects. Their 12-month price target was 4,500 from a prior 3,900. So clearly, most brokerages have been bullish, and post these numbers too. Very difficult to believe that there will be uh, something which will be a deviation of sorts. Now the stock was up 2% yesterday. The current price is about 3,800. Most believe that there'll be upticks here. So watch out for Siemens too. Then watch out for Mangalore Chemicals and Fertilizers. Revenues up 61%, EBITDA up 5 times at 127 crores, EBITDA margins at 11% versus 3.37%, net profit up 19 times at 67 crores. Just goes to show what some of these fertilizers in particular stocks are doing. Fabulous numbers by this one as well. On a depressed base, I agree, but still good numbers. And I think the stock will react positively today. As could Zensar, despite the revenue drop. So revenues were flat, down 0.89%, but essentially flat. But look at the EBIT performance, 26% higher. EBIT margin, 11.6% higher. Net profit up 55% at 119 crores. Now, we don't see too many IT companies trying to do this or being able to do this. Let me put it, they're not trying to do this, but being able to do this, which is show this kind of performance. So extremely strong and buoyant performance from Zensar. Um, and I was reading an initial sales note. Yeah, the Motilal Oswal sales note. Reported USD revenue by the way was up about 1.1%. Headcount was okay. Attrition was down 300 basis points quarter on quarter. Uh, yeah, most things look okay for this one, Zensar in this time around. So expect that the stock, which was beaten down quite a bit in the last few days, trying to do well in the session today. Let's wait and watch. Then the MSCI India changes, additions and deletions. So additions, HAL as well as Sona BLW Precision. In fact, I've missed out on a Max here in this table, but Max also has been added. So 3 names added. Deletions, Adani Total Gas, Adani Transmission, and no, it's not forgings. Excuse us for that. And in the stars. Now, let's get to what brokerages say is the impact of all of these on the specific stocks. And I think 2 stocks stand out for me. On the let's bring up the MK view on what the additions and the deletions would mean for these stocks. So MK says HAL, the expected inflow and inclusion would be about 119 million, 2.5 times ADV. Not that great. Let's move on to Max. And here, okay, this is Sona BLW. Max, yes. Let's stick with Max first. Expected inflow and inclusion would be 122 million, which is 9.2 times the ADV, which is the big one, right? On Sona BLW, it's gained quite a bit already, viewers, and therefore, while the expected inflow is large relative to the average trading volume, but 4.3 times, not that great. So, and not that high as some of the others. So, watch out for, from the inclusions end, watch out for Max in particular. On the exclusion side of both the Adani Group stocks, which is Adani Total Gas and Adani Transmission. So on transmission, expect outflow of $52 million, 3.4 times ADV, not that great. Total Gas, I think slightly higher than that, 7.8 times ADV, 67 million, not a very large number, but 7.8 times ADV, and therefore, yes, could be impacted. But the one that will get impacted the most, I reckon, would be Indus, wherein the expected outflow of 46 million, not a very large number, but it's 9.7 times the ADV, and therefore do watch out for this one in the session today. So on the losing side, both Adani Total Gas, but Indus Tower in particular, and on the gaining side, Max being the key one. So watch out for the flows here in the session today. The thing to monitor, viewers, though, keep in mind from the Adani Group perspective is the SC observations event today, and that might have a larger bearing. So be careful if you're trading those stocks in the session today. Then ONGC. It's discovered the oil and gas reserves in Amrit and Munga exploration blocks in the Mumbai offshore. Detailed assessments of the discoveries is in progress. I would suspect that this should be positive for ONGC. Let's wait and watch. Mahindra and Mahindra, they reported an 18.54% jump YOY in production volumes during April at 58,000 units. Sales increased by 40% to 60,481. Exports slumped 32%, but remember, it's a very small fraction or number of the overall numbers, and therefore this should augur well for M&M. It's just a month, but I think it should augur well. GMR Airports, passenger traffic at 5 airports managed by the company in April increased 33%. 33% uptick in airport traffic, passenger traffic, tells you something about the kind of earnings that the airport businesses will go through, because it's not just the airport fees, but the in-airport consumption, etc., all of which will have an impact on what these now companies do in terms of the April, May, June quarter. Remember, day before yesterday or yesterday, Fairfax agreed to increase the stake in the Bangalore airport by 3% as well. So it just shows there's a lot of traction in the airports business out here in India. And you can see if you're flying, I mean, I flew to Bangalore to interview ABB, Mumbai airport, Bangalore airport, packed to the brim. No surprise there. Then the tariff, or rather the mobile data for the month of February, Reliance Jio added 10.05 lakh subscribers, Airtel gained 9.83 lakh subscribers, Vodafone Idea lost 10.26 lakh subscribers during the month under review, which is the month of February. You know, here's the point is, if, as the fund manager was telling me, if Airtel and Reliance Jio keep on gaining all of these customers, and when 5G happens, there'll be even more so. It's true, right? So they gain a larger chunk, it becomes a duopoly. And then if at some point of time, if the tariffs were to go up, because competition is gone, right now tariffs are not going up, Jio is keeping it under stranglehold. When tariffs go up, the kind of benefits that come into the EBITDA numbers of both Airtel as well as Jio is quite spectacular, really, if you try and calculate it on Excel sheet. So keep that in mind. Would be quite stunning, really, what happens. And I think there's a Jeffries note today which kind of speaks about the same thing. We'll be putting a story on that on our website soon. So that is something you've got to monitor as well. Now, have I missed something? Just one thing before we kind of tell you what is to be watched out for in terms of conversations today on our platform. So yeah, today, of course, remember, it's a big day. Like I said, SC hearing on the Adani matter, Karnataka results coming up tomorrow, fundraising of Adani Enterprises on the weekend, and of course, Tata Motors results today as well. So from an auto watcher's perspective, it's a big day. Intellect Design Arena, I missed out those numbers. Very good numbers, by the way. License revenue grew 56, 57% QOQ and 43% YOY. 3 consecutive weak quarters, and then this kind of growth is pretty spectacular. So watch out for Intellect Design Arena. Like we said, Zensar was a good one. Have I missed out on anything is the point I'm trying to figure out. We've spoken about iShare. We've spoken about Volvo iShare within iShare as well. Yeah, Siemens, of course, was strong. So no surprise there. Deepak Nitrite was steady. I think we marked those numbers. Deepak Nitrite was a steady number as well. So inline performance quarter on quarter has improved quite substantially as well. So, and big companies lined up for results today. Tata Motors, like I said, but DLF, Vedanta, HAL, Cipla, well, quite something really. We'll be watching out for. Uh, let's wait and watch. Bunch of conversations lined up today as well on BQ. So Om Manchanda talks about their quarterly numbers. Dr. Lal Path Labs, so that is to be watched out for. There is Amit Singhal of Asian Paints talking about their quarter and a robust commentary. So I think I'll be looking forward to that conversation with him. Nikhil Kumar of TD Power Systems Johnson to talk about their numbers. Remember, the con call was extremely buoyant, so that is to be watched out for. The spotlight on defense, on insight, the conversation that we have every Friday. Gurmeet Chadda of Complete Circle and Munjal Shah of Paras Defense will be talking about the defense space and what it means for Paras Defense as well. And CPI and IP numbers coming out. Aditi Nair, Chief Economist of ICRA, will be joining my colleague Pallavi at 6:30 p.m. You might want to tune in for that as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, viewers, on the trade setup today. Have a great day ahead.